In a world where everything changes, where every day brings a new challenge, one thing can make the difference between giving up or moving forward is your mind. Have you ever felt as if everything was against you, as if life was pushing you to the limit? What matters most is not what happens to you, but how do you deal with it? Today we're going to talk about how to develop an unbreakable mind, one that doesn't give up, one that knows no limits. Because the only barrier that exists is in your mind. From an early age, we are told that talent is the key to success, but the reality is much more complex. Did you know that 80% of the world's most successful people were not born with innate talent? Scholars like Angela Duckworth, author of Grit, show that what really makes the difference is not talent, but perseverance and resilience. What makes some people never stop, even when they've lost everything? What makes an ordinary human being unstoppable? From a young age, we are taught that talent is everything, that you're born with it or not. However, statistics tell another story. According to a Stanford University study, 80% of long-term success is not tied to talent, but to perseverance and a resilient mindset. The concept of innate talent versus conscious effort is one of the biggest myths that society promotes. But as we delve deeper into this myth, what we find is a misconception that limits many people from trying, from thinking that what they have or don't have naturally is what defines them. What really determines success is not a gift that comes with genes, but what psychologists call neuroplasticity. The brain is plastic. It is not a fixed structure. This means that the ability to learn, improve, and strengthen our cognitive skills is literally in our hands. What decides whether we are good at something or not is deliberate practice, the ability to keep trying, failing, learning, and above all, persisting. For example, when someone starts learning to play the piano as an adult, they don't have the reflexes of a child prodigy. But perseverance, effort, and repetition generate new neural connections that make them better. Real talent, then, is not about natural ability, but about what you can do with your time, your focus, and your emotional stamina. This is the first pillar in developing an unstoppable mind, believing in your ability to improve. And when you believe there are no limits, there are none. Michael Jordan was kicked off the basketball team in high school. 12 publishers rejected J.K. Rowling. Oprah was fired from her first TV job. What was common for these people? A mind that didn't accept defeat as the end, but as a starting point. What are the mechanisms of an unbreakable mind? One of the most crucial issues, and one that most powerfully affects people's lives, is internal dialogue. It may sound commonplace to you, but it is such a powerful topic that we often don't give it the real value it has. Think for a moment. If you were told that 60 to 80% of your thoughts are automatic and negative, how would you feel? We've heard this from psychological research showing that for every positive thought, your brain usually generates 2 negative thoughts. The surprising thing is that most of these criticisms come not from external sources, but from ourselves. Imagine that every time you're in a difficult moment, the first thought that pops into your mind is, "I can't do it." And that thought repeats itself and becomes a subjective truth inside your head. Now imagine that instead you simply change the narrative. And if your mind says, "I can't," you respond, "Why can't I?" This is the basis of the mindset shift you need to stop being a victim of your thinking and start owning it. What's at stake here is self-concept. If you see yourself as someone who always has to fight adversity, your behavior will reflect that perception. But if you see yourself as someone capable of overcoming those same difficulties, your actions and decisions will change. When it comes to success, internal dialogue can be the biggest obstacle or the biggest obstacle to success. You have to remember the following: my only limit is the limit I set for myself. And if you learn to cultivate it with intentionality, you go from being someone who simply reacts to circumstances to someone who creates them. To be unbreakable is not to be made of stone. It is knowing how to bend without breaking. And that can be trained. Here are 3 pillars to build that mental strength. 1. Exposure to discomfort. Comfort kills progress. If you always do what's easy, your mind never grows. According to psychologist Angela Duckworth, author of Grit, the key to success is not talent, but the ability to sustain effort and passion over the long haul. What is the mechanism? Each week, choose an activity that makes you uncomfortable: public speaking, getting up extra early, or exposing yourself to constructive criticism. Voluntary discomfort builds character. 2. Mastering inner dialogue. Your strongest enemy is not outside. It's in your head. Every unfiltered negative thought is like letting a virus into your life's operating system. Did you know that an adult has between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts a day? 80% are negative if they are not managed. What is the mechanism? Apply the mentor voice technique. When you sabotage yourself, respond to yourself as your ideal coach would. If you were your coach, what would you say to yourself? 3. Visualization plus action. It's not enough to believe. You have to create. Muhammad Ali visualized his victories every night before he went to sleep. But the next day he would train as if he had lost them all. What is the mechanism? Do a daily visualization ritual. 2 minutes in the morning, visualize in detail a goal and a concrete action you will do today to get closer to it. You in front of the mirror with dramatic, epic movie-type music, telling yourself, "You can do it," and then you trip over the edge of the carpet. Yes, the powerful mind is important, but so are the feet. So while you're training your mind, watch where you're walking. Do you know of real cases that have broken the mold? Meet the case of David Goggins, a former Navy SEAL. Weighed over 130 calm. Failed 3 times trying to be a SEAL. Today he runs ultramarathons. How did he do it? He changed his identity. Not how he looked, but how he talked to himself. He called it the accountability mirror. One of Goggins's catchphrases is, "You are in danger of living a life so comfortable and soft that you will die without ever realizing your true potential." There is also the case of Edith Eger, an Auschwitz survivor. She was a prisoner. She lost her parents. But instead of living in the past, she wrote the book The Choice, teaching that we are not what happened to us, but what we choose to be with what happened to us. It's not about having a life without storms. It's about learning to dance in the rain. An unbreakable mind is not born, it is built. Brick by brick. Day by day. Decision after decision. And if you still doubt whether you can make it, Remember this, even bamboo takes 5 years to grow underground before it peeks out its first shoot. But when it does, it can grow up to 100 feet in 6 weeks. Now it's your turn. What's your storm? What habit are you going to break today? What part of your mind are you going to strengthen this week? Leave it in the comments. Read what others are sharing. And if this video resonated with you, share it with someone in need. Because an unbreakable mind, it's contagious. And finally, subscribe and turn on the little bell. Here, every week, we build unstoppable minds. Remember, no matter how far you fall, it's how far you get back up that counts.